Hi everybody and welcome to this video. We are going to be looking at the principle of polarity just a little bit, law of attraction, right? So some of my favorite topics, and more specifically about how we're creating, right? And whether we're creating something that we kind of don't want to experience, or whether we're creating something a little bit more consciously and intentionally, using a little bit of alchemy here, because we are getting into that stage where we really can tap into those really cool and phenomenal abilities, right? And starting to master them a little bit more. But before we go into that, if you are new to me or my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Alice. This is Ascension to Love. Please feel very welcome to hit the like, hit the notification bell, subscribe, all that jazz, you know. Comment on the video as you're going along, like if this resonates, if you have any pennies that drop, or if I'm just going on and you're like, what on earth is she talking about? Comment that as well, because it always helps me know whether the messages are clear enough or not. And share, do share it with your newsfeed if you find that it is an important message, right? Or something that just resonates in that sense. But anyway, let's get cracking. Okay, so we live currently on the earth plane. We are in the fourth dimension right now. We are ascending to the fifth, right? We've kind of traversed the third. It's still kind of present in some places, but for you guys watching this, we're embodied in the fourth dimension right now. So there is a lot of that polarity. By the time we get to the fifth dimension, we're kind of in that union. We've balanced, neutralized, integrated the poles, right? So poles can look like, you know, hot, cold, masculine, feminine, shadow, light, those things. That's a scale, right? That's polarity. You know, it's kind of like the pendulum swings from one to another. The trick in this lifetime, or what we're now really, how we want to create, is by being in a neutral position, right? So we create through the energy that we apply, that we put into whatever anything is, right, which will be neutral, because our pendulum is like this, it's not swinging like this. So when it's neutral, we can go, I'm going to put energy here, and then create in that way, because when we have a neutral belief, right, whether it's subconscious, unconscious, conscious, we want to have that neutral belief, neutralize any resistance, any block that we've had emotionally to something through prior experience, through past lifetime, etc., etc. Once we've neutralized that, we can then go, I'm going to put my alignment, my emotion, my creation energy, my life force energy into this to create this, right? Now, I'm going to use an example here about something, about how we're currently creating and what we don't really realize, or what we may be missing slightly. So, and stay with me here. Everything that we see, everything around us, is within us. It is a part of us, because we really are the center of our own universes. Everything that is created for us, or around us, is created for us, by that life force energy, by that source energy that is here within us, right? Keeping that in mind, right, we create the contrast as well, because we know that through contrast, we are expanding, because we are knowing more definitely, more clearly, what it is that we do like, what it is that we don't like, what it is that we do want, what it is that we don't want. We know that more clearly. We can then go, I really don't want that, but I had to go through this contrast to experience that, right, to get really precise, really clear. Now, what's really interesting is, so we have a lot of contrast in the world right now, and that's really important to know. It's good. It's meant to be that we've created it that way, right? And that might seem kind of like, wait, what? We've created all this contrast. Why would we create such a thing? We create because we are here. We are more than the human body. We are more than this outfit that we have put on, right? This limited, linear human, right? We are an eternal energy. We are part of all that is, right? There is a bigger picture here, and there are many lifetimes and many kind of, we can go into the quantum realms, which is more reserved for the quantum sessions and Akashic sessions that I offer. So, but what is really interesting is when we have contrast, we can, because we still are human, right? We might be starseed, star blossom, anything like that, but we are here in a physical human body. So we are human. We are experiencing all this contrast because there is still resistance within us. There is energy that is still stuck and still blocked, especially in our emotional body, right? Now, what's really interesting is, if, for example, we see something, or we see someone, say, for example, there is a group of people. This could be a political party. This could be a they scenario. They are saying this, they are doing that, you know, that type of thing. If there is that type of scenario, and this could be with anything, this could be with how someone responds to your dietary choices, to your orientation or your gender. This could be to anything, right? Because there is a lot and enough of separation on this earth plane, and division and labels, right? When we see what someone else is doing and it triggers us, what actually can be happening is that we're actually rejecting an energy, right? And that's not to say we ever condone what may be being said or the actions that are taking place, but oftentimes we actually go no, and we reject it, we push it away, right? This is like the law of attraction and repulsion. Everyone always misses that last word off. What's really interesting is that, when we don't want to experience something, sometimes we have a fear about it. So currently happening in many parts of the world still, especially happening last year, people were afraid of being sick, of getting sick, right? And instead of bringing light into their heart, opening their heart space up from above, below, expanding and finding their center, finding their oneness, and finding that fear and integrating it, neutralizing it in light, finding that shadow and welcoming it in, because the shadow, really, we just want to witness it, right? When we reject it, we give it more energy, more power to be created outside of us. And when we worry about that, we then create it. And because we've rejected it within us, we don't want it to happen, because we've rejected that within us, we then, our higher selves, our soul, because we are master alchemists without realizing it, but we've just forgotten how alchemy works, how creation, how law of attraction, how manifestation works. We've forgotten that we are constantly, every minute, every second of every day, creating. We forget that because we've rejected it in here and we don't want it to happen. We are actually creating it outside of us, because we actually really need the medicine of that. And what I mean when I say the medicine of the lesson that will bring, because when we reject it within, we have to create something without. And that has to be in contrast, because we are hiding away from a part of us that is just wanting to be loved and integrated. This could be like, so say for example, a couple of years ago, I took a flight to France. So a couple of years back, I went on a wonderful retreat, and I went with a friend, and we both had an extra suitcase, and we didn't realize that there was only we had to pay for an extra suitcase. There was a limit, we didn't realize. And we both had this hand luggage suitcase with us. Now, I wasn't worried or afraid of anything, like if I was to have a conversation with the person at the gate or anything like that. I wasn't worried about any of that. I just knew it was all going to be okay. I wasn't worried about having to pay extra for an extra bag. I was like, well, if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. My friend, however, she was like, I don't want to pay this, I don't want to do this, like I don't want someone to say I have to do this, this and this. Now what was really interesting is we both went through the gate at the same time. She got stopped, she had to pay an extra certain amount of money for this extra bag. I got let straight on regardless, right? Because we were both going through the exact same experience, and we both created our own reality of that event, because one of us had rejected the outcome, we rejected the rule, we'd rejected whatever it is, we didn't want it, we were so opposed, one of us was so opposed to it, and the other one of us was just like, if that's the way it's going to have to be, that's the way it's going to have to be, right? We were neutral to it. And because we were neutral to it, because I was neutral to it, I didn't have to pay for an extra bag, right? I didn't get questioned, didn't get challenged, none of it. And this is happening a lot right now with traveling, right? With how we're experiencing life in today's world. So it's really interesting when we actually really think about it. And this can be applied for anything. This can be applied to anyone, any belief that we may have about segregation, separation, regardless as to whether it's what's going on in the world in the year 2021, or whether it's to do with a gender and orientation, a dietary, whatever, how you choose to eat, what you choose to eat. It's really interesting. And it's just food for thought, because when we can get to a point of going, It doesn't matter what's going to happen because I don't have a hold over it. And, you know, and it's never to do with the actual situation. It's always a lot deeper, right? It's always to do with either past lives or inner child reclamation and things like that. And all these things I can help with. I can help facilitate a quantum healing session around to remove any of those anchors and blocks, help you find them and remove them and transmute them so they don't come up. But what's really interesting is that we are so kind of unconscious to those shadows, right? Because that's what shadow work is. It is unconscious. We're so unconscious to it, we have to create it, right? So are we going to start to bring the things that we're rejecting outside of us? Are we going to start to kind of acknowledge that, bring them in and let them integrate and become neutral, stop that pendulum swinging back and forth? Or do we need to create it outside of ourselves to bring the medicine of that lesson in so that we can experience it firsthand, to give ourselves the courage, the confidence, the alchemy in that way? So just something to think about, right? Just something to think about. And I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear whether you've experienced anything like that as well, whether you've been able to neutralize a manifestation or create in that way, or whether you've had that happen where you were worried about something and you've created that, right? So yeah, I hope this made sense and I hope it wasn't too rambly. So I'm going to send you all so much love, so many blessings. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sharing if this resonates with you, and thank you for sharing if it was just a really cool kind of introduction to the principle of polarity and how the law of attraction, how we can kind of upgrade our alchemy there a little bit, and how that law of attraction really works. Okay, sending you so much love.